Well, my morning must-read is a to-do list for China's new leadership. President Xi Jinping, who was, of course, appointed Wednesday, and the Premier Li Keqiang, who was named the #2 on Thursday. By the way, Li is the first premier in China with an economics doctorate. So Hank Paulson, the former U.S. Treasury Secretary and CEO and Chairman of Goldman Sachs, writes in the Financial Times this morning that China must push for economic change. He says the essential ingredient of reform is opening up to foreign competition. I know of no nation that has competitive capital markets, yet does not allow financial institutions to compete. He says you allow foreign firms to operate in China the way they do in other financial capitals, London, New York, Tokyo.
And Secretary Paulson's really led on this. The FT, Jamil Androlini, today has a great article on it's a transition, Scarlet, right, to the new government, but there's still some issues. There's still some fragilities, aren't there?
There's a lot of fragility, and of course it comes as China's economy is slowing down, and they need to figure out a way to adjust to the new economy of consumption-led spending.
Well, I'm looking at our economy for my morning must-read, and this was the week that both budgets were revealed. The Democrats, the Republicans, with Paul Ryan's budget, couldn't be farther apart when it comes to spending and tax increases. And at the center of the question is really, how many cuts can we take without destroying economic growth? Well, Stephen Ratner weighs in. Of course, he was the head of the Treasury's Auto Task Force, writing in today's New York Times, "Stop stealing from our kids. Starting to chip away at this mountain of obligations doesn't require immediate austerity. What often gets lost in the debate is that policy changes need not have any immediate deleterious effect."
And that we heard from Glenn Hubbard earlier. Exact same idea.
More on the
is just get the
conservative
glide path in. Just get it started.
And the idea there is that we are robbing from future generations by just accumulating massive amounts of debt and not doing anything about it.
Well, I'm glad you bring up Washington. It was sort of a non-story for this week because not much happened.
But we are going to hear from Jacob Lew, the new Treasury Secretary. Peter Cook sat down with him yesterday on this idea of how on earth they're going to find some sort of middle ground on the budgets.